What's up, guys? Welcome to We the Students. This is our very first episode. We talk about politics and the world with student voices, student mind, and students always first. We give a student's perspective on just about everything and how it affects we the students. I'm Nathan, and I'll be your host today. Now we're going to get into some news articles for today. This episode is going to be fairly short, but this is kind of how it's going to run from today on forward. So first, we're going to start off with what's been going on in the news. Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. She's been missing for a very long time now. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a couple weeks. Yeah, it's been 12 days. Yeah, it's been 12 days. And they found video evidence now, so they know where to look at. And they also found gloves. I really hope she's alive. Do I think she is? No. But I wish the FBI could pin on who did it, because something like this is very devastating to a family, no matter who it is, right? I think we need to get tougher on crime, and I believe we need to have more police, because this is the reason. If we let criminals loose, stuff like this happens, because I believe it was a professional, since they haven't found them or they knew what they were doing specifically. But I pray for that family, and I hope she comes out alive. But here's something that I'm excited to talk about today is the Save America Act. The Save America Act was passed in the House. I think it was like yesterday. This will make sure American elections stay protected. That is my opinion about that. Now, they're going to have a filibuster roadblock in the Senate, probably. That's what we can tell from the way the Senate acts. However, if we need to pass this, we really do, because people can cheat if they do not show ID. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, people can cheat if they do not show ID. Now, what's suspicious to me is all the people who voted against it. Because when you vote against a bill like this, you're basically admitting you don't want citizens to show an ID, but you have to show an ID to buy alcohol. You have to show an ID to visit it, like any federal building, as far as my knowledge is right. It's concerned there. But I feel like this will help America protect federal elections, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on. And how will it affect you, the voter, or let's say the student that just turned 18 or graduated college, or however old, if you get old enough to vote, you will have to have a government issued ID to vote, from my understanding of the bill. I will paste a link to the bill in the description of this video where you can read it yourself. But to my understanding, you do have to have a government issued ID. I don't know exactly what the qualifications are about that yet, but it'll just help protect American elections, and it'll also make sure American citizens are voting, because whether you're here on a green card, whether you're here illegally, or even if you're here legally, but you're trying to, what's it called, false identify yourself in the voting booth, in the polls, that's cheating, that's wrong, that messes up election integrity. So, if you believe in election integrity, I would recommend you call your senator to tell them to vote yes to the SAVE Act, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Also, in other news, for first-time home buyers, I know a lot of students that just recently graduated college are looking at their first home. Mortgage rates go lower to 6.09% on the average rate of a 30-year fixed mortgage. and the average rate was 6.87 a year ago. So when the interest rates drop, that makes people easier to buy homes. Now, do I think home prices need to come down? Absolutely. But I'm not an economist. You need to go talk to an economist about that. But this was okay. And also, home sale prices are also dropping as well. So it's the next, I'm going to say 4 to 8 years or three. Yep, I'm going to say 4 years. It's going to be easier for a young couple to buy a home than it was 4 years ago. This is a win for America. This is a win for the students. It's a win for everybody. Um, because, a lot of people have a dream of owning a house, and this helps them accomplish that. However, I do think we need to take some measures to make sure big institutions can't buy single family homes, because I believe that is wrong. That is taking away a home from a family who doesn't have the resources as a billion-dollar corporation. But that's all in today's news. Let's get into one of my favorite parts of the podcast. Today, we're going to be interviewing a Turning Point USA / Club America chapter president. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but I hope that's in the recording. But well, this is my favorite part of the show. Let's give it up for Bria. I wish I had a clapping thing.
Hi.
So you lead a Club America chapter. So my first question for you is, um, if you want to share, you don't have to. What Club America chapter do you lead?
I lead the Liberty Creek Club America chapter, and I'm the co-president.
Co-president. Okay. What first drew you to Turning Point USA as a student or Club America?
Well, I was in the Young Americas Foundation first, and then I didn't really realize I was starting a chapter when I started mine, because I signed up for it thinking it was going to be like the YAF where you just get the free things, and then the regional representative messaged me and she was like, "Hey, you need to go get your people and start a chapter." So I was like, I didn't intend for this to happen, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then the first year, I didn't really get to do that at all because nobody would email me back because I actually was emailing the wrong emails. And then this year, I managed to get my club started and also find my co-president who had a bunch of people already signed up for it. And so I was really excited to start this because we have a large conservative student base at my school. And I wanted to create an environment where we could talk about that because we have a strong FCA, we have a strong sports group, and for everybody who has something of everything, but there wasn't really one for kids who wanted to go into politics. And I knew there were a lot of those. And so I figured I might as well create a space for that, and what better place than Turning Point?
So for the listeners who are not familiar with Turning Point USA or Club America, what is that organization?
Turning Point USA puts conservative values on school campuses, either college or high school, and creates an environment for high school. You can have a club where they'll back you from the organization with materials, like just things to use, like activism kits, which have a bunch of materials in them. And you can organize events to promote conservative values on your campuses.
No, I personally love the organization Turning Point USA. I'm involved with it as well. But so also, like, Turning Point USA has its values. So what are some of the values y'all push for on campuses?
On campuses, we like to push the Constitution, our constitutional rights, and what it means to be an American, which is to be patriotic, to love your country. We like to promote freedom and the values that our country has been built on, like family. Family, we like to go into the inalienable rights that we have and discuss those and how those give us the freedom as Americans to live our lives safely and well.
So upon that note, a lot of people had these beliefs, right? They just weren't as
Yes.
vocal about it as they are now. How do you think Charlie Kirk affected that? Because we all know what happened on 9/10, and a lot of people spoke up after that.
Oh, it was huge because I remember in the Tennessee group, just in general, there were only about 8 or 9 other presidents when I first started out. And then within a week of his assassination, it went up so many. Now there's almost like 40 of us, I think.
There's like 52.
There's like 52 now.
There's
And
like 51, 52. It's a lot.
yeah. And I remember when I was first starting out last year, I couldn't get a single person to sign up. And then I started again the day after, not the day after, but the week after the assassination. All of a sudden, we had people coming up left and right to the table. I think it really impacted people because it made it so you could see the stakes. Because before it was like, okay, well, politics, that's just economy and talking about like this bland stuff that adults talk about, right? And I think what Charlie did was he impacted so many people on campuses and through social media because he had a huge presence
Oh
that
yeah,
it just
I
showed
followed him for
people
a
like
long
this is your culture too. And I think that his assassination really just sort of put people into perspective of this is a very serious thing.
time. Right. So Charlie Kirk had a big impact on students. I can personally say that for myself. I've watched him since I was in middle school, for a long time. Definitely had an impact on me on 9/10. I will say that. But what does your day to day look like leading this chapter? Like day to day, week to
Mhm.
week. I don't know how that looks for you.
Yeah,
What?
so I'll usually plan out what I want to do with my co-president, which she's now graduated, but she still comes over. So it's mostly me doing some of the work. But like I'll talk to our field representative from Turning Point and I'll say, what ideas do you have for us to do here? And it's like, for example, right now my day-to-day has looked like today I just messaged every single one of my chapter members, showing them a QR code because we're having a speaker event next week on Wednesday, and just constantly advertising and speaking to people that are next to me like, hey, I have this great club if you'd like to join. We have a lot of members. And just always planning, and I like to post on the social media too. So I run the Instagram as well, which is very fun. I do that every day.
Yeah, I don't. Social media sometimes just gets to my head. I'm like, I'm not trying to look at this anymore. A lot of marketing work.
Mhm.
But I know, but you don't mind me asking who you're hosting on your campus? What speaker?
We have Taylor Winston coming. He is an ex-Marine. He has some really great social media accounts, and he's going to be speaking on the Second Amendment because what he's, I would say, maybe most known for, other than social media, was during the Las Vegas shooting. He was the one that saved over 24 people by putting them into a nearby truck and taking them to the general hospital. So he's going to be speaking on Second Amendment for us.
Okay. Um, I personally follow this guy on, I think, Instagram. So if y'all go, I'm gonna leave his link in the comments. Y'all should go check him out. But so as I can say this personally, I've had a lot of challenges leading a chapter as myself, but in this situation, I'm not a chapter leader. If you know, you know. But in this sense, right now, I'm going to say this: this is not in my official position as a chapter leader. But I know I've had some pushback. I've had some issues on campus. Have you had any issues on campus?
I didn't particularly because we have a super huge conservative student base. Um, I think the most issues I've had are people are very respectful, but I think the only issue I ever had were 2 people that started cussing out a banner we had and then they just walked away. That was it.
I mean, that's not too bad. I mean, I don't think the banner has that many feelings to be so upset about that.
Hmm.
Um, that's my opinion about that. So you said you have a lot of members. What is your proudest moment of your chapter leading it been so far?
Yeah, so I'd been working on it for many months before it even got officiated because I just never really was able to actually find the people I was supposed to go to for it. And so my proudest moment was when we had our interest meeting, which are all the people in the club were meeting up for the first time. And I was walking on the backside of the building and I could see everybody in the courtyard and it was like a sea of people and they were just standing there with food that Bailey had brought and they had these posters and everything. And I think that was my proudest moment was just seeing the amount of people there and how passionate everybody was.
Guys, if y'all know me in real life, y'all know I love food. Y'all truly know that. Bria knows that too. But yeah, the sea of people, the marketing, you would be surprised on who would come because I've seen a lot of people step up to the plate ever since 9/10. I've seen a lot of people get baptized because of what Charlie did. I've seen a lot of people recommit their lives to Christ after what Charlie did. I've also seen a lot of people feel like I want to be involved in this. I've seen a lot of that. in my personal life. But how has this club or this chapter impacted your school slash community? How has it impacted it?
Well, it's great. I think it's helped a lot in that it has shown that we can be outspoken on our campuses, even if it's a majority conservative school like mine. You can be loud with your opinion in a very respectful manner, and we've made an environment where we even have people who have liberal viewpoints who are asking politely if they can come and be debaters at certain meetings. And it's shown that, like, me and my co-president and everybody else I know in my chapter, we always say that we need everybody to be super kind and amiable and respectful. Even if somebody's belief you might not think it's very intelligent, to be very polite to them. And I think that's really changed the scenery on the school when they've seen us and people who may think that, conservatives are the evil man. They show up and they're like, okay, well, these people are nice and they're our age.
I will say this: we're not all Donald Trump. We will not cuss you out or call you stupid for having a different opinion. But I feel like that respectful debate is what makes America important.
Mhm.
Because no matter what side, I lean left on actually some things, but I believe having that right to debate, having that right to speak about it is very important to this country. As well as, like, also on my personal time, I'm a student chair for a free speech political action committee. That way we can do issue ads for the right to freedom of speech on our campuses. I believe that is one of the most important things we can have in America right now. Where do you want your chapter to be like next year? Like in the
Next year,
next school year?
um, well, next year I would like to have more events because I haven't been able to do too many because we have such a large amount of people that are in sports who are always in
Oh,
championships. So hard to plan around
never
that.
lose.
Oh
I
yeah.
get
So
that.
next year I would really like to have more events, more meetings, and I would like to just build up my executive board because there's still some people I forgot to interview that I want on my executive board. But I just want to build it up so it has more of a presence. Because right now our presence it's strong, but it's not as strong as it could be.
That's nice. So I'm sorry, guys, if y'all hearing my phone go off because it won't let me hang it up. Okay, it stopped. So I know we've had, there's a lot of people that show up to your meetings. That is a thing you've told me. That's a thing I've also seen, right? Um, what advice would you give to a student trying to start a chapter, like let's say a freshman student, like a fairly young student trying to do something this large on their campus that could possibly cause issues?
Mhm. Yeah, I would just say, this is what my teacher sponsor told me when I was asking him to be my sponsor is you just need to know the rules that every other group in your school has. Like, know what everybody's allowed to do and not allowed to do, because then you can play it very easily. Like, if you know, okay, well, this club is allowed to do this, and this club can do this, so why can't I do the same thing? If you get that problem from faculty, it's just so important to know what you are entitled to be able to do. And also just to keep pushing forward with it and don't get too worked up, because if you get angry, people are going to start looking at it like, oh, well, you're going to try to start something that's a little bit too loud, but you want to be very polite with everybody. Kind of, I like to say that I don't like to say butter up, but you kind of want to be super sweet to the faculty. Like, this is going to
Right.
be a great addition. Don't worry about it.
You have
And
to
also
sell it. Mm.
get backing from Turning Point too.
Yeah, the backing from TPUSA itself helps because they have the resources to, let's say, God forbid, a school. I'm trying to think, California, because I know they don't have a state partnership. Let's say they want to start a chapter, but Board of Education denies, the school denies. TPUSA luckily has the resources to make it nationally recognized and legal resources. So that's why I think having that backing from TPUSA is great.
Mhm.
And I like how they're lobbying for free speech on our campuses. And I like how no matter really what side you're on, they show up, have that respectful debate. But this is really important to me. Uh, how has your faith shaped this? As a Christian myself, I can really want to know this. How's your faith shaped this
Mhm.
experience?
Yeah, so when I first started out, I've always liked politics a lot, and it's always been something that I've loved because I like to, because for me is I always, if you're looking at the issues of the world, you kind of just have to focus on the root because I like this for me. I've always wanted to be in I wanted to be in the important things,
Mm,
just so that I could actually help to change things. And with politics, I figured that would be a good representation for my faith as well, because we're called to be the light of the earth. And for example, with this chapter, I just felt called to do it when I first signed up for it. And I had prayed a lot over and over, and it just didn't work out at all. And then right after Charlie was assassinated, I suddenly had all these people who were interested, who wanted to do this. And what was actually really impressive for me was when I was so confused as to how I was even going to get this started. It had just been officiated. I had no people. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get people in this. And then within 24 hours of that, a girl who I really admired because she was just so intelligent. I knew her my freshman year, and I was like, she's the most intelligent person I think I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden she comes out of the blue and she's like, I have 100 people and I was trying to start my own, but we can co-op with this. And I was like, why, thank you. Yeah. And so I think it's helped so much is just seeing how this has developed so perfectly. And it's so intentional in how everything has played out in favor. Um, and so that helps so much because it's helped my faith, particularly seeing how this small thing has become a big thing for me.
right. Um, like 9/10 for me was like a dramatic change. Like I
Yeah.
can't stress that enough. What happened to Charlie is was like whoa. Like I've always liked politics too. I'm just like you. It kind of started. My interest kind of started during 2020. So like COVID, 2020 election. I'm like, okay. So, because I was at my grandma's house a lot that year, right? Because COVID, I really had nothing else to do, and she always had it on Fox News, CNN, or something, just watching the viewpoints of it. And sometimes she had on Charlie Kirk, and my, I guess you'd say my passion for politics kind of stemmed from that. So I've always kind of liked it for a long time, but my faith is like, whoa, like, yeah, I probably need to do this because we need to also get more believers of Christ in, right? But I also need to do this because, like, this is something I enjoy to do. But faith helps shape what I do, and I know helps shape what you do too. So I really appreciate that answer. Where can people learn more or follow your chapter or anything you would like to add to this?
Yeah. On Instagram, we have it's our only place where our chapter is accessible, but we have it on Instagram and we post everything on there. And if you are at Liberty Creek, you can just go to any of the events, but the Instagram is the main way.
For let's say a student who wants to get involved, let's say in Florida, how would they go about starting a chapter in their own school? Like, how would they do that?
Mhm. You would go to the TPUSA website and you would go to Club America. There's a little tab. And then you can go in and start a chapter. And then pretty soon you'll get a message from your field rep in your area, and they'll help you through everything. They'll guide you through everything. They're turning point representatives. And then soon enough, just got to find people. First, make sure you have a base because you can't really start one unless you have an executive board of 3 people. So if you're starting a chapter, get a couple people that you know that might be interested and advertise and show that you have people who are interested, because then it's going to be a lot easier to get it through faculty.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you doing this interview, especially on like such last notice. But so she's also a member of We the Student, so you'll probably be seeing her quite a bit in our interviews, debates, episodes, etc. So make sure you follow us on whatever platform you're on: YouTube, Rumble. Follow, like, also follow us on Twitter. We post a lot of stuff on there. So I hope everybody has a great day, great weekend. If you want to also learn more just about mostly what we're mostly rooted in, our faith or anything else, um, I'll make an email later, but I'll definitely put it in our YouTube tab and also on Rumble if you're watching there. Just to learn, if you want to learn more, just send us an email. We'll probably answer it and DM on it, Twitter or X, whatever. We'll also probably answer that as well. But I hope everybody has a great day. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.